So hi everyone, how are you this evening?
Hi, I'm okay. I'm doing okay.
Rama was setting up a couple of things, that is why we are a little bit late. So so today we'll just be doing a few basic things with Tailwind CSS, basically setting it up. We are not going to be using React. I'm just going to use basic vanilla JS to kind of come up with something that looks like this from the front end mentor challenges. Have you ever attempted it before?
Tailwind or the
With just normal CSS.
yeah, okay, not this exact project, but some projects on front end mentor.
Okay, I actually found this. This was the easiest. This was the easiest that we could probably just kickstart off. But generally today, I just want to show how easy it is to use and integrate Tailwind within our day-to-day use cases, whatever. So let's begin. The first thing. So how do I begin? As usual, I begin with my terminal. Where is this thing I call a terminal? Terminal. Just going to open another one. So I begin most of these things with the terminal, and there is this thing called Vite.js. Shoot, I'm already panicking.
No pressure.
Vite.js. Vite.js. I technically use Vite.js to configure basic apps that that is this is my first time doing this. I should CD, it's supposed to be CD. So we do that. We initiate a new Vite.js. It's going to give us right here. It's going to give us a prompt to name our application. We're just going to name it front end or mentor, something simple. Mentor, yeah, like that. We select that we want vanilla JS. Vanilla JS. So from that we change our directory to mentor. Boom, push it to VS Code. There we go. Hopefully the fonts are still huge. Are the fonts visible? I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So we install the basic packages that come with this boilerplate for Vite. That is the development service for Vite.js. So that is npm install. So from there we go to we're looking for Tailwind CSS. You my god. So Tailwind CSS. We can either choose to use the CDN or but the CDN comes with it comes with a couple of shortcomings. Let's first of all cover that. Where is that? Installation. So when you use the CDN, installing Tailwind using CDN, it comes with the challenges where you cannot customize the themes. So basically, the presets for Tailwind are the ones that you just stick with. You cannot apply directives. So basically, if you choose to use the CDN, you can't probably change the color preferences or whatever. So that is why I'm going with the option to just install it. Where are we? Installation. So as usual, install Tailwind via npm, Control C. We come back to this. moment. I'm sure it's going to be fast either way. So as it installs, we change the contents of the CSS folder. This C O V Control S. Why? So just a moment, let me slow. We have to initialize Tailwind with npx Tailwind init. So that is going to create a Tailwind config.js and a post config.js for Tailwind. So basically all the changes that we'd want to make to customize our CSS will be done on Tailwind config.js. But currently, I guess it's just okay. So from there, I guess we have everything that we need. We've installed Tailwind correctly. We have our Tailwind CSS. We have our post CSS. We've modified the style.css. Oh, so with the Vite, we have to change that. So basically, we just clear the content of the main JS. We come to index HTML. We have to link the style sheet that we've modified. To link CSS. That's simple. And change this probably front end. Then we change the body to maybe a H1 tag. We type here goes our prompt. And hope it runs. So then from there, because we're using Vite, it gives us a development server, but it's more like it's more like React. I just call it that either way, where if you refresh the changes, it automatically. I guess it's better than using the live server. So it's going to be npm run dev, and just like that, it's going to be available. Oops, where's my cursor? All panicky. Localhost. I hope this works. Oh, there it goes. So one thing that we'll notice is after we've installed Tailwind, even if we put different types of H1 tags depending on the hierarchy, that is H2, then we write here is a H2 tag. It will still put it as on a similar level. It's now up to the classes that we'll use to define the differences. That is the different classes that we are going to be using. It's by default box sized to border box, so everything is just going to be perfect. So with this project specifically here, we won't really do a lot of specifics. We're just going to work on the major parts of the interfaces to at least help us quick start our knowledge or practical use cases of Tailwind CSS. So these documents usually come with color preferences, and if we go to Tailwind, that is Tailwind, and we attempt to look at the colors, the color presets that have been Tailwind colors. That is colors, yeah, probably. Amazing colors. And let's look at an example of text colors. So basically, these are the utility classes that are going to be used in formatting of the document itself as we continue to just use it. There are a lot of them, but they're also limited to some point. Different users have different cases. For example, right now that we assume that this document uses a whitish or grayish color, we can probably take it to a range of gray 200 or something. But back for the background colors, where the background. So for the background colors, we can get to indigo. Yes, we have indigo 900, which is a little bit, okay, it's very far away from this specific color. So we don't have that specific color. So we have to at least customize that specific color. So to customize our choice, we have to go to Tailwind config.js. Why is it? There's a different one. Tailwind config.js. And under themes, extend, here is where we define the colors that we want. So for example, in the file itself, we have the style guide. Style guide MD. I'm not so sure it's going to be visible for all of you. I'm a sucker for dark mode, but I'm going to copy them the way they are. So basically here they've given the color preferences in HSL, and that is exactly what we're going to be using for the color preferences. So we open our VS Code here, and I extend, we add colors. Colors. Then we have blue, and blue here is which is for the main background. That is the HSL. We copy it there. Add a comma. So we have two blue. We have very dark blue and dark saturated blue, which ideally when I was doing this today, let me just copy this for the colors. So for the colors, this is what I did. We can still do it differently. So this is blue main. Instead of one, we can call it main. And this is going to be, let's just call it desert. Desert blue and soft violet. Soft violet. Again, we can still add another color. We don't have to type everything out. We had this. This is going to be for the neutral colors. Just naming them. Okay, I ideally, as you go do a project, you're going to have to find suitable naming convention. So slightly transparent white. So this is, let's just call it white because all of them are just white. White. 1, 2, 3. Then we just copy HSL provided. But This is white for the paragraph. Shoot. White for the main paragraph. I realize most of these things. So let's see. So just like that. So we have blue and white. Go to output. What have I done wrong? Unexpected input. I have done something wrong. Blue. Okay. Let's just have this here. I am very panicky. Oops. It's going to be the white, I guess we'll just use the ones that we already have, the presets. I'm sure they're just going to be more or less the same. CSS still has an error. Still an error. What did I do wrong? These are the things that make me feel like running away. Go to output. So just a moment as I check the error. Yep, still an error. Now I feel like running away. Tailwind config.js. Nope. Control A, Control C. So I'm just going to copy the presets that I had already done during the day. There. Oh, one more thing that I recommend, if you want to learn, if you're using Tailwind, I think these the presets that I have don't have that error. If you're using Tailwind, I recommend having the Tailwind CSS extension. It gives you more. It gives you whatever these are called. I am so tense right now. Anyway, so okay. Let's begin. Let's begin with this, with the development or the design or whatever. So I'm going to split my screen into two, where one part I think we're just going to have the code, and the other bit we're going to have the live bit of the code. Localhost, we're going to refresh that. So we will just use this with reference to this. So the background color is the primary color, which I defined here in the config as one. This is one here. So we come here on the index.html, and basically that is just the color for the whole body. So Tailwind is good to the point where instead of typing a lot of things, so everything is just given in terms of utility classes. So we defined it as, so if we want to use something for a background, we use the common term, that is the BG. We give it a hyphen. So you see, I've already started to get predictions of whatever colors are available for me. So BG. So we're going to. So we're using it as what? BG. What did we call it? We called it blue, then one. So BG blue, which I'm not even sure if it's blue. So BG blue and one. And once we reload it, it's affected all our changes. So for the colors, it's for the text color, that is. For the text color, we use the word text basically for all text colors. So this is going to be universal since I'm using it on the body tag text, gray, and if just as an approximation, let's use that. Just like that, we'll see our colors will change. Oh. So now let's begin with that. So in this we have the inner container, which also has a different shade. So that is now what we're going to do next. Let's give it a different shade. So BG class. So it was BG. So the second that becomes the second blue. Blue 2. So BG blue 2. Boom. So color. Text 800 52. For it to show, we have to give it a height and a width. H. So the H is used to H is the one that is used to basically define the general height, and we already have prefixes that are we are going to just use most of them. And here we're going to be using it as probably 80%, 83.88, and width the same. If we just look for width 80 point something, 80%, that is 45. So H 5/6, and that defines the presets for the height and width. And here we're going to put some dummy text, probably to just make sure that we're doing, that is, nope. We're going to give it a p tag, lorem 40. So we're already seeing that the container has a different shade. So let's try and center it. To center it, we have to center everything from the body. And so instead of writing display flex, here we just write flex. And so item center, then we have justify center. Boom. Okay. So how about the top? It's not. Okay, so let's just give it a padding. Let's just give it a padding top. PT is basically padding top. So padding top, let's give it a huge padding top, around 30. 32. Let's give it a padding top of around 32 so that it moves. So ideally, the item is centered to a point, yeah, and that is basically what we are going for. So it's centered to 80%, and so the height is also going to work with 80. Rick and Morty. Boom. So we go back to our thing here, our idea. So within this is now the background. We've already started the background, and we're going now to do away with that. We're going to create another div. Inside it is where we're now going to try and have this side and this other side. Let me have it from where. So give here we have the H1 with get. This is get. We need a span for the color text. Insights. Oh yeah, insights. Get insights. Help your business grow. Your business. Not even correct. Business grow. Stop. Where am I? Also get insights to help your business grow. But before that, we need to divide this into two. So from here, largely I prefer using grid. So we're going to use grid here. So we have grid and grid columns to just this in the same way that we would have just used grid when it came to that is plain CSS. And for the grid gap, we're going to give it a 0. So this is what is going to enclose the two of them. So for the grid, that is like display grid. So the grid columns to the gap in between is we want to put it at 0, and then from there below it we create another div, and here is where we're going to put the image. So here is where we're going to put the image. It's supposed to be on the left side of this thingy. Boom, boom. So image. So from there, I guess we're going to bring in another folder here, call it assets, your images, whatever. Images, we're going to borrow them from the files that have been provided. And copy them there. So we have two images here, and so I just call them people chilling. It's just good convention to so images. So this is the desktop image. We give it a class for it. IMG responsive. IMG responsive means it's going to size with whatever, then give it a height. H, we're giving it a full height. H full and width full. So basically, this means that it's going to occupy the full width of the container as stipulated by the grid. So if the grid says that whatever, like the grid says, so image responsive. So you see, once we begin, if we increase its sizes accordingly. So right now we have that in check. So right now we need to just work on styling this. So far you saved a lot of time if you are supposed to be using plain CSS. I believe we've already saved a lot of time. Okay. So let's start working on this, on the texts, on the text bit of it, and the text bit of it all. Nope. Text bit. Let's look for the text. Yeah. So here we have get insights that help you and your business grow. We're done with that. Underneath it we have a p tag that ideally contains this. We're now looking for the p tag that is going to contain the general description, that is discover the benefits, yada yada yada. So I'm just going to copy that, save a little bit of time. See, we're giving it a p tag there. So you'll still notice that the H1 and the P tag currently do not have any differences whatsoever. Or the differences are not going to come once we begin perfectly styling the whole thing. So so let's look at how texts are styled. Oops, I almost closed the meeting. Texts. That is font size. Tailwind. Font size Tailwind. So as you'll see, let's these are ideally the predefined the predefined sets that can be used. So generally it just depends with you, but now for purposes of a responsive design, this is now where it becomes easier, because we don't largely have to use media queries. So for example, for the H1 we're going to give it a class, and assuming that this as it is right now, it's probably tablet size. You come here and look at I'd want that if it's at a tablet size, let's use like for Excel. So for Excel, you come here and see how they use. So text times for text dash for Excel. So here we are. So tablets in Tailwind, for we use MD for medium. So basically this means that it's on a medium screen. So on a medium screen we have text. This is for Excel. On larger screens, we're just going to update this. So basically on extra large screens, which is used as an abbreviation of XL, we just look at a font that we see is going to be more appropriate. So this one we've used for Excel. So let's assume that if it's in an extra large screen, let's use 5XL, and that is also in the large screen. So Excel, this is going to be Excel. We use text what 5XL 5 Excel. So for an it was Excel and large screen now, basically it's the laptop or larger monitors. LG, we have text. Let's just use the same text 5XL. Text 5XL. And let's see how that looks now. It doesn't look that great right now, but once we maximize this, let's watch as the font changes. Inspect. So notice the size will reduce slightly when we get to medium. Yeah, I hope it's not that big of a change, but it changes. So it's changed because here we have predefined that we want it at an extra large screen. That is what we want at a large screen, at a medium screen. So this is basically you identifying and presetting the media queries as early as at this point. So from MD, we have small screens. Now small screens here ideally have mobile phones and everything else. So for mobile screens, let's use probably 3XL. Text 3XL. So we come back to this. So 3XL. So as we continue to get to a mobile size, I guess, okay, we're going to remove this image from here eventually, but for the time being, let's just look at that. So far the H1 tag is responsive. So for the span, let's also color the span. So text So here we have class. So basically, we need to make sure that this is block, so it display block, so that in some devices it doesn't end up wrapping itself onto another new line. So that is display block. And let's give it a color. So color, what color are they using it here? So they're using this purplish color. Probably that was BG blue. Really text blue, blue 3. So since we had already predefined our colors here, so the color itself is called blue, and the variants that we've put in place are 1, 2, 3. So if you want to use it as a background color, all you have to change is the first one that precedes it. So for example, here we used it as BG. So if we still want to use it as a BG, we instead of using text, we just give it as text BG, text blue, BG blue in that sense, that it's going to apply it effectively. Where are we? Here we are. So it's changed the color because we've used it as text. If we'd wanted to use it as a BG, I'm not sure if it will work. But if we'd wanted to use it probably as a background color, BG text, BG blue 3, going to affect it in that manner. So that is not what we're working with at the moment. So we're done with that. So let's just continue sizing this. Remember, probably at medium size, we'd want this to wrap and have it probably looking more like a phone or something, rather than the way it is right now. So let's try and have this. Let's try and have this. We'll probably start working with it as a bigger size. So we begin. Let's set the margin. So here we're looking for the margin that contains this bit of text specifically. So for margin, we just put probably M, and if you have the extension that I had mentioned before, it's going to give you these I call them hints. So if you have this, it gives you hints. For M basically means it's margin all around. If you have MB, that is margin bottom. If you have MT, it's margin top. If you have ML, that is margin left. If you have MR, that is margin right. So currently we're just looking for margin all around. So margin, we give it probably an 8. That is 32px. Let's see how that looks. So it's centered appropriately. And what else? So we come back to the H1. H1 here, how is it looking? H1 has a bit of space in between it and the P tag. Oops. Still panicky. Here we have. Here we have. Let's give it a MT. So for the H1, we're giving it a margin bottom of around 20 pixels. That is M5. We're giving it. Has that really worked? MT. No, I actually gave that to the span. Control X, we're giving it to the H1 itself. So the MT, that is the margin below. Oh, that is margin top. Oops. We are looking for more of the margin bottom. Margin bottom. Oh, we are forgetting a couple of things here that we are also necessary. Oh, so we need to add this. So in the in the div that contains all this, we just add another div. We won't give it a class name yet. So, but we'll give it a p. Let us give it a p and a class, a h3 and a p. Let's give it another div. In this div, we're going to have a h3. No. Let's give it a h2, h2, and a p tag below it, below it. So we're just going to copy this 3 times. Control C, Control V, Control S. Is that correct? That is correct. Okay, so the first one is 10K plus. 10K plus is 314. 314. Oops. We need to move this. So we use it below. Oops. I guess that is there. Then 12M plus. 12M plus. Let's look it up. Some madness has occurred. Yep, I overmoved it. So just like that, we have companies. Because these have templates, have queries. This queries. So then from there, the container that is supposed to contain all of them. So this one is still outside the container. So we flex them. Flex them like that. And from there, we justify between. Give them that space. And then probably we give it in top of around 12 pixels, or maybe less, or maybe 8 pixels. That is M2. And what else? So far it's coming out well. So for this case, we need to do a couple of things. So for the large sizes, so we still remember that for the mobile design, these items are moving down instead. So we need to, I usually don't even know the difference between row and column. So I tend to Google that a lot anyway. Flex, CS, Tailwind. Flex, Tailwind CSS. Actually looking for flex direction. So flex direction. So this is flex call. The other one is flex row. So just like that, we have to specify that at XL, flex is call. At LG, flex is also call. But on MB, flex is going to be row. and SM flex is also going to be row. SM maybe two together. But if it's on a small, oh, what did I just flex? Oops. So, oops. So it's the vice versa. Row, row, DD, row. So as gets smaller, it flexes like that. So what else are we missing? What else are we missing? Oh, we need to now to, we'll kind of get into the specifics a little bit. So let's try and first of all try and make everything a little bit mobile friendly. So far we've defined this image, but in the given designs, we have also the phone. We also have the phone, whatever, the phone mobile design. So for the mobile design, we have the picture. The picture comes at the top. So for the picture comes at the top here. Basically, this is just how I decided to fix it. So I just copied this instead of using a lot of Flexbox items. I copied these again at the top of that. Changed the image to header mobile. People, so it just retains the same. But now here is now where a little the media queries come in very handy. Where am I? I am here. So in the extra large, remember we can still, in the extra large, this is going to be hidden. In the large, this is also going to be hidden. But when it comes to MD, display it as block. And SM, we're also displaying it as block. This means that everything that we've done for this, we're just going to do the opposite of it for this. So so here we put it as block at extra large, so that it's going to be seen. For the large, we put it as block, and for the next blocks, let's control DB, just put it as hidden. Let's go back to hidden. So as we refresh, it's not going to show up. But as we do this, you notice that it comes at the top. But now here, remember that we had used a grid, and the template columns were 2. So there were 2 of them. So we have to get rid of the second one when our item resizes. So where did we put the grid? We put the grid here. So grid, okay, grid is just default for all of them. So ideally we don't have to change that, but we also have to specify that as XL grid is the grid columns are 2. At LG, the grid columns are also going to be 2. Grid codes, actually that is, nope. Grid codes, oops, that is 2 at MD. Oh, here's where we put it at grid column 1, and also for SM we have grid column 1. So as soon as we move to our medium size, the grid columns are going to change from 2 to 1. That is exactly what we want, something that also changes. Notice that the lower item is no longer showing, so as we move, it disappears, the other one appears, disappears, and the other one appears. So ideally, that is what we want. That is what we want to do. So now that the item is responsive, whoops. Is there anything we're missing? Okay, let's try and style all of this. Let us try and style all of this. So you will notice that such, like for example here this item specifically now comes, is it because it is inside a div that it's not supposed to be in? Yes, it's inside a div. It's not supposed to be inside the div. Pretty sure it's not supposed to be inside the div. Yes, so we grab that and put it out. Yep, so we're right. So X, no, really. Oh yeah. So this is just this. So we are moving it up. Control X, moving it slightly up. Covers all of it the way we have in the design. Let us refer to our design. Where is this? This. Nope. Desktop image design. So for the image design, we'll see that it covers everything. So we have things like the border radius that we have not yet worked on. We have the general flow of the whole thing. So let's first of all try and style it. Let's style it first at mobile level so that we can go style it first for the desktop levels. So we're not going to close this. This is our reference picture. So we have border radius. We kind of have to Google that. So border radius. So border. So instead of Googling, we can just search it here. So we have radius. So it's key. So border radius. Here we have the first option. We click on it. We look at whatever is offered currently. So we see we have border rounded none, border rounded small. SM basically means small, and these will cover everything, top bottom. So we're looking for, we just want to round the top bit, the top bit only. So we look for rounded top, SM or MD. So I'm going to use rounded top. We're going to use that, Control C. And this is only going to be used at MD. MD. Here we're going to round it. Here. And SM. So save that. Done. See. This is what, so we want to only round this. So that rounds the picture at that small level. So we have the rounded whatever, the rounded edges are the top only. So the bottom, I don't know if I don't know if it's visible, but for me it's visible. So we have the rounded tops for that. The bottom is okay. So we also have to round the bottom bits of the whole of this container. So that is going to, so for this is going to be for this one. So ideally, this one is going to be general. So instead of specifying, just going to use MD rounded TAMD. So that is just going to be for it at all levels. It really rounded it. Nope, this one has not rounded it. Rounded top or rounded. So we remove the top. But we also see the changes at the bottom. I think we need to look for a bigger bit. So LG. So let's try and use LG and see the difference. Let us use LG. LG for large. Still so rounded. LG. Let me save it. Looks finer. LG here. And LG the same. It's fine either way. Yep, it's working. So we look at what else we need to. So the padding here I can say is okay. This has ended up flexing itself as I had anticipated probably. So we have to ensure that it goes back to block. Inline Tailwind. Okay, display inline block. See, let's use that. Use that. Should block. Okay. Inline block, and let's see. Yes, it's now okay. So it's centered. So just like that, we have to text center. Text center basically supposed to center all the texts. Refresh. Yep, it's centered. Let us look at adding padding to these individual elements here. So we have to add here, we have to add here, we have to adding here, there, here. So there are three. So since they all of them are individually, just add probably P and E2 so that each in between each there is a gap of to 2. I think we'll need to add it to 3. Yeah, so looks a little bit neater. Looks a little bit neater, so we undo that. Kind of look at bold text. Let's look at text. How to bold text. Bold text CSS. Nope, not CSS. Tailwind. What is this? What are these? Oh, font weight. So to majorly bold, we have to use either bold or extra bold, semi-bold, depending on whatever you want. Depending on the font sizes that or on the fonts that you're going to use. You depending. Okay, you can just use any. So I guess we'll use bold. So we just come to the VS Code again and look at the items that we want to put into bold. So we add that there. Where is that? We add that to the H2 there. Add that to the H2 there. We do a plus. So I am modifying the 3 of them at once. Bold, written blood, bold. So we come back to this. check them out. 3, 4. Oops. Seems like there's something else you need. Also, it's font bold. So Control D, D, D. Back to that. Font bold. Font bold. Looks better, but I think it needs to be extra bold. D, D, D. Bold. Really. And then we look at the general font sizes. Oh, so here we'd used, let's look at the H1. At H1, we'd used these specific selections. So I kind of don't usually like to think sometimes. So you just use some of these things. So Control V there. So if that was a H1, wrong place. If that was a H1, probably had 5 Excel. So here probably would give it 4. Here would also give it a 4. And here we'd give it a 3. And here we'd probably give it a 2. Let's see how it looks. It's looking good. Yeah, so it's looking good at this level. So for this level, it's looking okay. So all we have to do is just copy these stylings again. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you, my dear? Okay, here you go. Shoot. V. Effects to all that. Now, what else? What else are we missing? So as you can see, as we grow bigger and bigger, we also need to center this slightly. So we're going to figure that out. So let's work on the P tag. On the P tag, so these and this ideally. So let's look at the differences in the sketches. Oh, so these ones have also been capitalized. So again, we come back to Google. Google is our friend. So search, come to capital. So capitalize. So text transform, capitalize. So basically, what we're doing is changing them to uppercase. So copy the word uppercase. I think right now, Control C. Boom. Where are you, my dear? Okay. Control C. So for the what am I even doing? So for the P tags, what is wrong with me? Ha 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 ha. For the P tags, that here we use it. We click on Alt so that we kind of don't end up copy pasting everything. Alt selects items at multi-level. So we are modifying the 3 of them. So we add the word class, and we put the word uppercase. So when you paste it pastes to all of them. We resize our screens again. Yeah, so it's resized it. So what else? We want to center. Okay, it looks good. I'd say it looks good. It looks good. We are trying. So discover. So here, let's look at the line height. Line height for this one as compared to. Oh, we also need to bold this H1. So for this H1, you just need to add a bold. Add bold. Bold. Which was text bold. Text bold. Really? not working. It's refusing. It's refusing to get good. It was font bold. Boom. Font bold. Looks. Ideally, I'd say this is presentable. So let's just center this and oh, okay. We have a slight issue here. So these items on the desktop design, they are not centered, so they begin from the margin, but in the in the phone version they are centered. So we also have to edit that. Just still using the same media queries that we had used here. So we had assumed that also. So basically, it's the whole container. We reduced the whole container. Where is it? Where are you? Rounded LG, justify center, PT, flex item center, text. Jesus. What text center? Here we go. We look at, so this is going to be for MB, text center, and SM. Text center. Let's see if we don't define the, yes, so I don't know, it's still not behaving the way we want it to. So let's just Google this. Text center. So we're looking for it in the text alignment. So for the rest, we want the text to be aligned to the left. For the rest, that is. Where are we? Come on. Oh yeah. So for Excel, V, G. So let's see. Yep. So it's centered. So right now, all we have to do is define a width for these things so that they don't seem to go beyond where we want them to. So we have to define a width for this specific class. So width, let's make sure that this width is at least going to be 80. Probably let's use 80%. Using percentages because it's more integratable. So let's give it at least 70%. So if we give it 70% width, it means that won't misbehave to some point because the container isn't going to take up the whole width of the container. It's going to just utilize the 70% that has been allocated to it alone. Okay, so just like that. What else? So we need to center this. So to center this, we come just copy the same style that we began with. That is flex item center, justify center. Just use that in the div that contains everything. So the div that contains everything seems like it's this one. So item center. Nope. It with this one. So see, items have been centered. Whoops. Nope. Uh-huh. So So where did we paste that? We pasted by here. And seemingly so. And use it here. Center, just right in the center. Div that contains this. So we're just trying to see. Pom 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 pom. Huh. Font bold. So this div starts from here. Oh, we didn't add the word flex. We're using flex. Really? Madness. So let's try and see how to center this. So which div? Where is that div? My drag. Where is that div? Mm-hmm. So unlike writing plain CSS, ideally we've done a lot so far. The only thing that I think is left is just centering that. And for the coloration and everything, I don't think we'll do that today. But ideally, having done this brings a good introduction for it. It's sort of a good introduction for Tailwind CSS. How do I center that? Justify center. Does it affect anything? Let's look at the container. We're looking at what container are we looking at? 8. So above M8, we're looking for this. So text align left. Let's try and style it from here, from justify display flex. Flex. Messed everything up. Yep, that is cancelled. Yada 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 yada. Oops. Super tricky for even a beginner. Oh, let's increase the font size for this as I kind of think about size Tailwind. So for the font size, let's use 2XL. Font size, let's say they use 2XL. Let's use 2XL for the font size. As I kind of think about that. Class name, class text, 2XL. Yada yada. 2XL. Looks good, but centering it. Let us review this code. Let's see. So here, this is the H1. Column. Yada yada. I hope that worked. Ooh, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. So I guess that was an introduction to Tailwind CSS. I really tried to figure out how to do the coloring. I'm still figuring that out, and I'll probably share how to color that out once I'm done. But so far we have a responsive design made with Tailwind CSS. I think it kind of looks something similar to that. It's presentable, even desktop design. It's presentable. I have not yet even done the fonts. Those are things that I guess are more of a practical session. Once you learn how to customize everything on your Tailwind CSS, so you can ideally, there's nothing on Tailwind CSS that cannot be customized. All you have to do is just read through the documentation, learn how to implement your color changes if it's colors you want, learn how to do the screens, learn how to do the fonts. So basically everything is just done here on your HTML. You don't have to refer to a lot of classes. And I don't say this is neater and it's readable because you know that a specific class or a specific element or item has been formatted with this specific manner or this specific way. So I pretty much guess that is the introduction. So let's look at the responsiveness again. Let's just make sure that we are doing something that is responsive. So yeah, so it's responsive. It's okay. So the items have flex flowed, ideally the way they're supposed to, just like that. We can even test it out probably on smaller fonts. Yeah, so on a smaller font probably it wouldn't look all that neat because of the fonts. We have to do a little bit of customizing, but on an iPad, probably on an iPad it looks a little bit decent. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Anybody with a question about Tailwind CSS, I'll try as much as possible to answer. I think I had a blip or something. Oh, awesome. I know this is my first time presenting anything to do with code to people, so it might have been the shortest presentation ever. But at least at the end of the day, we've learned something. Anybody who would want the code, I think I'll push it to my repo and I'll try and submit it to front end mentor once it's done. Probably before I sleep today, I'll do the coloring and everything else. But so far, I think everything is just workable. So you're super welcome, Stephanie, and everybody else who joined. So Rami, Rama is still around?